Everyone in the cafe thought she was just another barista, just another quiet woman with steady hands and a soft smile. But that illusion shattered the moment the Admiral whispered her old call sign. No one saw it coming, not even her. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She had been wiping down the counter, sunlight pouring through the big glass windows, turning the dust motes into floating gold. The place was calm, gentle, the kind of morning where nothing dramatic should happen. But then the door chimed, and Admiral Pierce, retired but still carrying the weight of oceans in his steps, walked in. He glanced around, casual, until his eyes landed on her name tag. Lena, he read aloud. She nodded politely. "What can I get for you, sir?" But he didn't answer. His gaze fell to the faint scar behind her jaw, a thin crescent hidden beneath tied-back hair. Something shifted in his expression. A memory, a recognition. And then, in a voice barely above a breath, he said the words that made her blood run cold. Fox 9. Her spine stiffened. She hadn't heard that name in 7 years. She thought she'd never hear it again. She was wrong. Around them, a few customers looked up, sensing the sudden tension. Chairs creaked. A spoon clinked against ceramic. A couple by the window exchanged a confused glance. Lena's grip tightened around the coffee cup she was holding, her pulse tapping against her fingertips. "Sir," she said quietly, "I don't go by that anymore." But the Admiral wasn't listening. His hands trembled, just slightly, but enough for the people nearby to notice. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "We looked for you, for a long time." The words felt heavier than the room could hold. Lena swallowed. "I left for a reason." Outside the windows, the bright daytime street carried on, children on bicycles, a mail truck humming by, a couple walking a golden retriever. But inside the cafe, the air felt thick, as if even the sunlight hesitated. The Admiral took a breath. "You saved 7 of my sailors. You went back into that burning hull after I ordered you not to. You shouldn't be hiding behind a coffee counter." The cafe fell silent. People turned in their seats, feeling the gravity of something they didn't fully understand. Lena could still smell the smoke when he spoke those words. The heat, the screams, the cracking metal above her head as she crawled back into the blackened corridor, dragging unconscious men out one by one. She had been the last one off the ship, and when the investigation started, she ran, not because she was guilty, but because she couldn't stand the spotlight that followed. "I'm not that person anymore," she whispered. Another micro cliffhanger hung in the air. The Admiral studied her, and something softened. Maybe not. But someone outside still needs her. Before she could ask what he meant, the door swung open again, this time with urgency. A man stumbled in, panicked, shouting for help. His little daughter was trapped in a collapsed backyard shed across the street. Too many wooden beams, too tight a space, and the neighbors were too scared to move them. The Admiral didn't even look at Lena. He just said, "Fox 9, one last time." Her heart slammed against her ribs. She didn't want this. She didn't want to be pulled back into the person she used to be. But outside, she could already hear the father's cries. And Lena had never been able to turn her back on someone who was afraid. Without another word, she ran out the door. The sunlight hit her full in the face as she sprinted across the street. Neighbors had gathered, murmuring, pacing, pointing helplessly at the heap of splintered wood. Dust floated through the air. The child's faint sobs trembled beneath the rubble. Lena dropped to her knees. "Sweetheart, can you hear me?" A whimper answered. "Good. I'm getting you out." The Admiral barked orders at the crowd, and suddenly the yard filled with motion. Neighbors formed lines. Hands moved in unison. Tools struck in rhythm. A small wave of determination swept through them, turning fear into action. Lena slid through the narrowest gap, feeling the scrape of wood against her arms. Her breath was shallow, the space tight. When she finally reached the girl, curled, crying, trembling, Lena wrapped her in steady arms and whispered, "You're safe. I've got you." Moments later, they emerged into bright daylight, the crowd erupting in relieved applause. The father clutched his daughter, tears streaking down his face. Lena stood there, dust on her clothes, sunlight warming her skin, and for the first time in years, she didn't feel like she was running. The Admiral approached her quietly. The world still needs people like you. She didn't argue this time. Because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back, and sometimes all it takes is a single word from the past to remind you who you really are. Thank you for listening. If this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more stories just like this.